Buongiorno a tutti, grazie mille per aver partecipato a questa presentazione. Mi dispiace non poter essere con voi a Catania. Non parlo italiano, quindi terrò la presentazione in inglese. Se avete domande o siete interessati a collaborare, non esitate in scrivermi un'email. Thank you very much. This is titled A Newly Recognized Late Holocene Landslide Deposit from Cordillera El Mocho Pleistocene Volcano, Southern Andes of Chile. So I want to acknowledge my collaborators, Brent Alloway, Hugo Moreno, and Francisca Vergara, who have participated of this research. We have found recently a new debris avalanche deposit between two very important volcanoes of the southern Andean volcanic zone, Villarica and Quetropillán. None of these volcanoes have been reported in the past for debris avalanche deposits, and we want to know if this deposit comes from any of those volcanoes, how it was generated, and which are the implications for volcanic or geological hazard, considering the existence of this newly recognized deposit. As I already mentioned, this deposit is constrained in the glacial valley between Villarica, which lies to the left, and Quetropillán, which lies to the right in this image. This is a deposit extending by 12 kilometers northwest and west along the Rio Palguín, and forms a terraced geomorphology that covers around 9 square kilometers with an estimated volume of 18 million cubic meters. The upper portion to the middle segment of the deposit, it mostly consists of brecciated and plastically deformed megaclusters and interclast matrix on what is called a mixed block and matrix, or simply mixed phases for this kind of deposits. And from the intermediate to the front portions of this deposit, it consists of a massive structure debris flow deposit rich in matrix with suspended fragments of clasts, and the matrix is mostly clay and silt in size. Other relevant features include the existence of megablocks, more than a cubic meter in size, chisel marks in the bigger blocks, jigsaw clasts, as we can see in the inset C of this picture, and mixed proportions or portions of interclast matrix of different lithologies and different colors. The predominant lithologies present in the deposit consist of clasts of olivine-bearing porphyritic andesites and basalts. They are very similar in composition to Quetropillán and Villarica rocks. However, they are mostly similar in composition to small eruptive centers located nearby Villarica volcano. In terms of the stratigraphy, we know that the deposit overlies the Pucón ignimbrite deposits, which are 3.5 kiloyears before present, but also probably the Chaimilla eruption deposits, which are 3.1 kiloyears before present. So we suspect that our debris avalanche deposit is pretty young, late Holocene at least, and it also has scarce soil development on top, so this reinforces what we think about this. Basalts and basaltic andesites that we have found along this deposit are clearly correlated with El Mocho Pleistocene small cone that lies south from the deposit, and there is a scar that is a few kilometers wide, and it also points towards north, so it is probably indicating that this is the source of the deposits that we found along the valley. So we interpret that it started as a mass flow that later transformed into a debris flow deposit. and we interpret it like a landslide event that probably occurred along this volcanic change between Villurica and Quechuyan Lanin volcanoes. So it's likely non-volcanic in origin because the El Mocho Pleistocene volcano was um, eroded and inactive at the moment of this late Holocene collapse. In terms of the conditioning and triggering factors for the production of these deposits, we envisage the tectonic control of the volcanism in the area, and particularly the presence of the strike-slip Liquiñe-Ofqui fault zone or fault system, as it has been called in the recent years, as the main predisposing factor to produce instability in the El Mocho volcanic edifice, and then to trigger, probably through the occurrence of a local shallow earthquake, um, to initiate the movement. But we can discard the glacier ice loss, the debuttrishing of the rock mass, as a condition that could have favored the occurrence of this mass movement. So there are many factors that could be playing a role in this case. In addition to determine the most likely predisposing and triggering factors that produce this debris avalanche deposit, we would like to understand the potential hazards of these processes and the dynamics of this flow in this area. Thank you very much, and these are the references.